we got power. We got style. It's a lot to deal with when you're in the ring with Mr. Boots Ennis.
Yeah.
He is a nightmare to deal with because of his style and his ability.
I seen that the guy was in the high guard, and Boots' shots come like 100 miles per hour, so it was gonna be hard for him to stand tall.
You know what's absolutely wild? The biggest story in boxing right now might not be who Jaron Boots Ennis just defeated. It might be the fact that some of the sport's most respected voices suddenly sound like they're all reading from the same script. And
is gonna put it together. I think Boots is gonna be a top 5 pound-for-pound guy.
Shawn Porter spoke about Jaron Ennis, and he looked at him like one of the most gifted fighters in boxing right now.
The last one I just saw, he literally turns around this guy and does a spin behind the guy, and then the guy turns around
Just that damn
and he catches the dude again. It's just sexy, you know?
It doesn't take a huge boxing IQ for him to jump off the screen.
once you start connecting what Shawn Porter, Teddy Atlas, Shakur Stevenson, Paulie Malignaggi, Robert Garcia, Timothy Bradley, and several other boxing minds have been saying, the conversation changes completely. Because this isn't just another champion getting praised after a big win. No, this feels like the moment the boxing world collectively stopped asking whether Boots Ennis is special and started asking a much scarier question.
Highlight reel fights. All those wins before that where he was blowing guys out, he was too big, too strong, too good, blowing guys out of the freaking ring. I was more impressed, and it was a one-sided fight. Not exciting, but I was more impressed with that performance than every one of his wins. And they would, like I said, all the wins before that were like a Michael Jordan, the great basketball player, like a highlight reel. So dunks and flying through the air, but not really seeing the complete basketball player. He would have beat 90%, maybe 95% of the welterweight class. This guy is really, he is a nightmare.
Who's actually going to stop him? And before you roll your eyes and say, we've heard hype before, hold on. Because this is where everything starts getting interesting. For years, fans debated whether Ennis was all potential or the real deal. Critics argued he hadn't faced enough elite names. Supporters insisted the top fighters weren't exactly rushing to sign contracts. And the conversation just kept spinning in circles. But then came the performance that made even skeptics pause. Suddenly,
At his best, he was having fun, he was sharp. People complain about him getting hit, but the only punch I really seen him get hit with was the jab tonight. So, truthfully, I thought his defense was really good, and it was good.
Inside, I was wondering if that physicality of Zaya, so at least being the bigger man, he would be able to use the physicality. If that would wear down Ennis, even despite his punch creativity on the inside. I was definitely wrong on that one, at least on my opinion and thoughts on that possibility. You know, it was one of those fights where it was really difficult to pin down which direction you wanted to go with it. And certainly, some of you did say this was going to be the result. I tell you what, though, I give both guys credit, and I'll give you the reasons why I give both guys credit. First of all, congratulations to Jaron Ennis on a super dominant performance. He's a unified world champion once again. He's second weight class being a unified world champion at welterweight. Now he's a unified world champion in the junior middleweight division.
the same analysts who had been asking questions weren't asking many anymore. They were talking about angles, timing, creativity, rhythm, and that mysterious quality that separates good fighters from fighters who make other champions look uncomfortable. That's a completely different conversation. And then, wait. Here's the part nobody expected. Shawn Porter didn't simply compliment Boots. He described a fighter capable of climbing into the pound-for-pound elite because of how naturally everything comes together. Speed.
And I gotta give him a lot of credit, man. I like, he do a lot of things in that ring. So I'm a fan. I became a fan. He answered some questions, and it was a great fight because first it was just looking like a one-sided thing. I saw, man, he done, man. Boots gonna get him.
Oh, first round, right? First round.
And second round. I was like, oh, it's over. The third round, he gonna stop him.
Check. Power? Check. Confidence? Absolutely. But what really caught people's attention wasn't the knockout talk. It was the artistry. Porter pointed to moments where Boots switched positions, created impossible-looking angles and landed punches before opponents seemed to realize the exchange had even started. That's not just athleticism. That's the kind of thing that makes trainers stay awake at night drawing new game plans. And then Teddy Atlas enters the conversation.
Boots showed his medal. Like coming back, he showed his diversity. You know what I'm saying? To be able to to adjust to what he was doing.
Yeah.
I love the way, even that when they was exchanging, Boots was going to the body, and I think that was a lot of things that helped him. Was going to the body. And man, that was just a great show, man. And I knew Boots wasn't gonna get denied though. I knew it when I seen him coming in. When I seen him, I said he has, he knew what was going in it. He had too much at stake. Being all the criticism that he's faced over the last couple of years and all the fanfare that surrounded him, So he had so much people saying he was, so high on everything. And then they had so many people that was negative against him, So he had a lot to prove in that fight. And I knew how he took this training camp that, he wasn't going to be denied. So he showed his everything, and I was excited about the fight. It was a great fight.
And whenever Teddy talks, boxing fans listen carefully because praise from him almost always comes with a warning label. Atlas basically acknowledged that Boots has physical gifts most fighters can only dream about. But he also hinted at something fascinating. Sometimes Ennis enjoys himself so much inside the ring that he becomes almost playful. Against certain opponents, that's entertaining. Against elite competition, that could become the entire story. Suddenly the narrative flips. Is Boots too talented for his own good? Is confidence becoming his greatest weapon? Or his only vulnerability?
Wins the WBA, WBO junior middleweight titles. He now a 2-division world champ. He knocked him down in the first round, got him again in the third, and I think it was the fourth. The fifth round, and then he stopped him in the seventh. Hey,
yeah.
If I thought if it was a woman in the ring, I thought Xander was proposing. He like, I'm like, well, yeah, whoa, you earned it for that, huh?
Hey, Unc, he taking a lot of punishment in there, man. He taking a lot of punishment in there. let me know when to go, Unc. Go ahead.
All I'm gonna say is this: when he came, when he switched, he started on the orthodox because he's an orthodox fighter.
Yes.
He went to southpaw. Ocho, every lead left he threw,
And just when fans started debating that, Shakur Stevenson threw another layer onto the mystery. Instead of comparing Ennis to established superstars, Shakur practically rejected the comparison game altogether. His point? Stop trying to force Boots into somebody else's legacy because he's building his own. Think about that for a second. When elite fighters stop comparing you to champions and start describing you as something unique, you've crossed into a completely different category. That's what
wins the WBA, WBO junior middleweight titles. He now a 2-division world champ. He knocked him down in the first round, got him again in the third, and I think it was the fourth. The fifth round, and then he stopped him in the seventh. If I thought if it was a woman in the ring, I thought Xander was proposing. He like, I'm like, well, yeah, whoa, you earned it for that, huh?
Hey, Unc, he taking a lot of punishment in there, man. He taking a lot of punishment in there. let me know when to go, Unc. Go ahead.
All I'm gonna say is this: when he came, when he switched, he started on the orthodox because he's an orthodox fighter.
Yes.
He went to southpaw. Ocho, every lead left he threw,
when expectations become enormous and pressure quietly doubles overnight. But don't click away yet because this is where the conversation takes another sharp turn. Paulie Malignaggi wasn't obsessing over power. He wasn't even talking about speed. He kept returning to creativity. Creativity! In a sport where milliseconds decide everything, Paulie argued that Ennis finds punches that almost shouldn't exist. He'll throw from awkward positions, change levels halfway through combinations, switch stances, and suddenly the opening appears as if it had been there all along.
Has now put himself, I think, into the pound-for-pound conversation. Like, without doubt for me, he's now in the top 10 pound-for-pounds, and I need to think very quickly about what number he sits at. Because yesterday, he beat an unbeaten champion and stopped him. I repeat myself, he beat an unbeaten champion and stopped him. Didn't go to points, wasn't controversial.
Fans online immediately started debating whether that improvisation is what separates great fighters from unforgettable ones. Of course, not everyone simply handed Boots the crown. That's where the story gets even better. Several analysts pointed out that while Ennis looked sensational, he still absorbed a few clean shots during exchanges. Not disastrous shots, not panic-inducing moments, but enough to spark an entirely new debate. Was he taking calculated risks because he felt completely in control? Or was he giving future rivals valuable clues? That's the beauty of boxing.
Starting to land on me, and I was like, okay, this is it. Boots, though, is almost a bit... I'm trying to think of the fighter. Nigel Benn-esque for our UK viewers. When you hit him, he wants to hit you back. Almost a bit like a child in the playground. Like, there is no, okay, you're hitting me, I'm going to go on a defense and run away. No, fire with fire. And that was almost Xander Zayas' undoing, because Boots just hits too hard, he's too strong, he's too fast, and ultimately he's just too good. He's too good. He's had a couple of good...
An incredible performance somehow creates even bigger questions. And then came what almost felt like a breaking news moment across boxing discussions. Suddenly, people weren't just reviewing the fight anymore. They were fantasy booking the future. Virgil Ortiz Jr. started appearing in conversations everywhere. Sebastian Fundora's name floated around. Terence Crawford somehow entered the discussion again. Fans began connecting invisible dots that might not even exist yet. But that's what happens when a dominant performance captures everyone's imagination. Every potential matchup suddenly feels like the next blockbuster chapter.
And we should get a hell of a fight from that, bro.
Do you think experience might be the ultimate factor here? Because I know you said Boots just got to the division, but he's got more fights under his belt, and also Xander is younger.
Yeah, I think experience could be a factor here, but I mean, Boots ain't used to going 12 rounds. Boots ain't used to going 12 rounds either. I mean, usually he's knocking these dudes out before he goes 12 rounds, and then when you look at the competition that he's faced, it's been, you know what I mean? Ain't nothing been popping out like, crazy. Xander, you can say the same thing about Xander too. I think it's the perfect matchup right now.
Meanwhile, Robert Garcia offered praise that carried extra weight because trainers don't usually get impressed by flashy moments alone. Garcia focused on the complete package. The stance switches, the composure, the patience, the ability to attack upstairs, downstairs, inside, outside, and then somehow make every sequence feel connected instead of random. According to many observers, that's where Boots separates himself. He's not throwing punches just to entertain. He's solving problems in real time. That's an entirely different skill set. And here's where the suspense builds again, because another surprising pattern emerged.
A lot of people that thought, Boots could easily dominate Zayas, he'll easily dominate Ortiz. Now they're gonna think, man, him against Ortiz is gonna be a war, a beautiful fight. So it brings more attention to the fans to push for this fight, promoters to work together and make this fight happen because of what Woods showed last night. Besides him also getting hit and getting tagged and maybe getting stunned and a couple of times, but he showed heart, he showed power. So that's one thing that
most everyone praising Boots included one tiny caution at the end of their compliments. Did you notice it? Every glowing review seemed to quietly include the same message. Let's see what happens against the absolute elite. It's almost like the boxing world has unofficially agreed that Ennis has graduated from prospect debates forever. Now the only acceptable questions involve championship-level monsters. That's a huge shift. Yesterday, people asked if he belonged. Today, people ask if anyone belongs in there with him. Massive difference. Bernie the Boxer added another fascinating perspective, celebrating how Ennis mixed bodywork, rhythm changes, defense, offense, and tactical adjustments instead of simply chasing a knockout. According to many fans, that's the version of Boots they had been waiting to see.
And I'm glad you got two young gunners, that's making hats off to both of them for making it happen. So it's so much ducking going on today, but respect to both of them,
Yeah.
Respect to both of them.
Tell me, obviously, do you feel like that fight goes the distance? Who do you favor?
I don't think it's gonna go the distance. I favor
a fighter using every tool in the toolbox instead of relying on natural gifts alone. Because here's the uncomfortable truth for the rest of the division. If raw athleticism was already difficult to beat, what happens when experience catches up too? That's the question making social media explode with opinions. Then came reactions from Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco, who couldn't stop talking about the authority Ennis displayed throughout the fight. But even they noticed moments where Boots willingly stayed in the pocket, almost inviting exchanges. Some fans loved the confidence. Others immediately imagined what might happen against another devastating puncher. Neither side was necessarily wrong. That's exactly why the debate refuses to die. Every compliment somehow creates another controversy.
Good fight. Xander could fight, but I just think he ain't been through the fire like Boots gonna put him through. Like Boots ain't one of them guys that's in there to cruise. He gonna try to get him out of there. So I think he gonna be a little too much for Xander down the stretch.
Yeah,
I think.
You think he's gonna stop?
It's possible, but I think he's gonna dominate him. Cause he might have a good chin, be durable. I ain't never see if he could how he take it to the body, but yeah, I just think Boots gonna. I think he'd dominate him. But a good fight though. Xander could fight, good fighter, but right now I don't think that he's ready.
Not because people doubt his talent, but because expectations have become almost impossible to satisfy. Timothy Bradley added another layer by pointing toward experience, reminding everyone that styles, rounds, adjustments, and championship moments become increasingly important as competition improves. Suddenly, this isn't just about one performance anymore. It's about whether Ennis is entering the stage of his career where every fight becomes a legacy fight. That's a completely different level of pressure. Every jab gets analyzed. Every defensive mistake becomes a headline. Every victory somehow raises the standard even higher. And if you think the story ends there, not even close. Across forums, podcasts, interviews, and fan discussions, one phrase keeps appearing again and again: complete fighter. That's an enormous compliment in modern boxing because complete fighters are incredibly rare. Power punchers exist, slick boxers exist, counter punchers exist, pressure fighters exist, but competitors who comfortably blend multiple identities during the same round? That's where conversations become dangerous for everyone else in the division. Of course, online speculation is exactly that, speculation. Future matchups remain uncertain, negotiations can change overnight, and boxing has surprised fans countless times before. But perhaps that's the biggest twist of all. The most interesting story surrounding Boots Ennis isn't that everyone suddenly agrees he's unbeatable. It's that respected voices with very different personalities, philosophies, and analytical styles are independently pointing toward many of the same strengths. They may disagree about future opponents. They may debate rankings. They may question certain habits. Yet they repeatedly circle back to the same conclusion. This is a fighter who forces elite observers to pay attention. And maybe that's the real headline hiding beneath all the excitement. The conversation has quietly evolved from "Can Boots become a superstar?" to "Who has the style, discipline, and courage to prove he isn't?" That's a very different question. And boxing history has shown that once the entire sport starts asking that question about one fighter, the next chapter usually becomes unforgettable. So now the spotlight shifts away from what Jaron "Boots" Ennis has already accomplished and lands squarely on what comes next. Will the biggest names step forward? Will the toughest challenges finally materialize? Or will the loudest debate in boxing turn out not to be whether Boots is ready for the division, but whether the division is truly ready for Boots? Tell me what you think, because the answer might shape the next era of boxing.